What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here with
Gershwan.
And today we're back to answer more of your questions in another spine-tingling, jowl-dropping, and ear-flicking episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And your first question should be, what is a jowl? You said jowl opening or what?
Yeah, I think that's like what dogs have, like the jowls, like the cheeks that droop.
Yeah, I've met people with droopy cheeks. That's usually a disease, a Nurgle disease. No, yeah. I think it's like, has something to do with diabetes, but I don't know. What doesn't have to do with that?
Right.
This question comes from Wasted Millennium. If you could make up or add a new Chaos God, what would it be and what powers would it bestow on its followers?
That's a really good question, and it's a question that I've thought of like a long time ago. Because the Chaos Gods, they're really cool. Essentially, they're power-ups for like Space Marines and any other faction. So the Chaos God that I thought up way back when kind of ties in with like a portion of the other gods. So like you have Khorne, which is like the god of like murder and that, but there's also other elements to it, like being kind of like perfection in a way, similar to Slanesh. Like you want to be the best like beheader, or you want to be the best like throat crusher.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. But it would be a god of despair.
Despair.
And it fits the narrative of the whole 40K grim darkness, because in a future where there's only war, you could just imagine like the hopelessness, the solitude, the despair that billions upon billions of people are going through.
Yeah.
Because war ravages the world you're on, your home, family members, and that's going to leave a lot of despair for this god to use up and then in turn use to make like champions of despair.
Yeah. That's a really cool concept, especially because I could see it being really like good for like telling stories, because like the god of despair would, like, let's say it's a hive city and they're about to get attacked, the god of despair would go in there and whisper to the planetary governor, you can't make it, like you're done, you give up.
Right.
And like it empowers him, and then at the same time it empowers whoever's attacking, so whatever chaos god, so it'd almost be like a buff to a chaos god.
Yeah,
definitely.
At the same time, it like deals with like nihilism. So it's like, I'm going to die anyway. Might as well go all out. Who cares if I push my body to its limit and break it down? But, I'm at least going out, fighting or whatever.
Yeah. I've always thought that a chaos god of greed would be really cool. I don't know what really powers you would bestow on that person, except for maybe, like, I would think of him kind of like a dragon from Lord of the Rings.
Was it Smog?
Oh, Smog, yeah, from The Hobbit, yep. So it's just one of those situations where he's like hoarding things, and but he's really powerful. So like the power that this god would give to his followers is like, you get all this like amazing power, but you gotta sit on your treasure. You don't really like expand like the Khorne like demons do, or like any other demon. You just sit in a planet and like look at your prize,
right?
Like my precious type of thing. But it would be kind of hard to fit that in. Is there a chaos god right now that is a representation of greed?
I guess you could say all of them in a way, because they all want to like be the best, and like the greed of like trying to have the most followers, the most land captured or whatever.
Yeah. And then like when it comes to another chaos god that GW has talked about, we have the god of order, or the chaos god of order, which is an oxymoron, but it's the chaos god of the light, so the emperor.
The emperor, right.
So he represents the good, well, he doesn't represent goodness. What does he represent?
I guess it's the antithesis of chaos, where chaos is like unknowing. Order, you have like order, you have a schedule that's always going to happen no matter what.
Yeah. And you could also twist that into like a negative. I've been watching like a bunch of those psychoanalyst like prep things on YouTube, and like they talk about how if you have a childhood where there's a lot of order, you end up being an adult who looks down upon people who don't follow like things to the T. You usually see it like with like police officers, military people, and stuff like that. But it is like, that's a big time negative. Like if you are always looking down on people, that arrogance. So then the chaos god of order is hope, but at the same time, the negative part would be arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be kind of cool. I don't think GW's going that way though.
Yeah, probably not.
And then you always have Malau, the renegade god. And then he's just basically just kind of like he was supposed to be what the Emperor was, right? Or
essentially, yeah. He's like fighting fire with fire, fighting chaos, even though he's chaos.
Yeah. But yeah. Good question.
Mm-hmm. Would you guys have any other ideas down below that you guys have had about a new chaos god? Let us know.
Let us
know. This next question is by King Naga. What are your thoughts on the theory that the Tau are a species created by the Necrons to put themselves back into flesh?
I don't think it makes any sense.
Yeah, why would like the Necrons create these primitive beings that almost wiped each other out before the Necrons awoke?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, these are going to be our like bodies, and then the Necrons wake up and it's like, well, they killed themselves off. So no.
Yeah, no. I think it makes more sense if it's the Eldar that actually created them, because the Eldar understand that like psychically powerful races empower chaos. Mm-hmm. So if you create a non-psychic power race, which is the Tau, right? Because it's just like a little match compared to the
bonfires of like the Eldar's psychic might.
Yeah, then obviously you don't feed chaos. Mm-hmm. Chaos dies down, but you don't kill sentience.
Right.
Because it still exists within the Tau. But yeah. Next question comes from Judah Lang. Can you guys be more friendship goals? R.I.P. buddy who used to walk his cat. He's taking L's. Yeah, if you walk your cat, you're definitely taking an L. Because they don't want to walk.
No, if you like, I can't imagine it'd be easy to put that little like jacket on a cat, because it's not like a collar that you could just walk the cat. They'll like squirm out of it.
Right.
It's got to be like a full body like straight jacket.
Yeah, I was on TikTok the other day and I saw that this lady had a special vest for her little dogs that had spikes coming out of the back, and it's because she lives in an area where there's coyotes. So when normal, or when you walk your dog like normal just on a leash, the coyotes would actually come up and just snatch the dog and take him away. So this vest is supposed to have like spikes kind of mimicking a porcupine, so that the coyote sees it. It's like, oh, this isn't just prey, this is like a porcupine, which is crazy.
So then wouldn't they just do what they do to porcupines and try to put them on their bellies to get to the soft insides?
Yeah, they would, but by then the theory is like the human would be like, I'm gonna kick this coyote or something. Even though coyotes get pretty big.
Yeah, and they usually have like rabies and stuff like that.
Would you risk your life and get rabies for your pet?
I would just get like a bigger dog, like a German Shepherd or something.
To just attack it?
Yeah, because I just picture like a Chihuahua with like spikes.
Yeah. I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast and he was talking about a pit bull who like got tricked into following a coyote to like the coyote's den, and then a bunch of other coyotes attacked him, but it's a fucking pit bull. So he just ended up killing all the coyotes, came back to his house all bloodied up, and it was just like, that's crazy that coyotes do that. Like they actually like convince dogs to come into their lair. It's like a D&D campaign.
That's what I'm going to base mine off of now.
Yeah. You're all dogs. Pick the breed.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
A furry campaign? A what? This next question is by Brandon Frakes. What is the most powerful Astartes special unit or honor guard, and why? For example, the Morlocks, the Sanguinary Guard, etc. Lore-wise or tabletop-wise? Because for a while now, the Sanguinary Guard were pretty good, especially with like all the wounds that like the Space Marines got, like all the buffs and whatnot. Because they could drop down with their wings, their jetpacks, and they basically have access to like powerful like plasma weaponry and like flamers, so they could deal damage that way. And then they could also get in close combat, and they've got like power fists and power swords, which also got a boost, so that would make them also pretty good. And if you want it to be a distraction unit, you don't have to run them in groups of 5, which is normally the case for Space Marines. I believe with the Sanguinary Guard, they can come in groups of 3.
So he was just asking which one's better?
Right. And I'd say Sanguinary Guard.
Yeah.
Their armor has nipples.
Which is unnecessary. And Blood Angels don't have a... No, they do have a codex, don't they?
Yeah. The masks are also pretty good. You could have banners. So they're like the Swiss Army knife.
With nipples.
Nipples, there you go. And they have abs, too, on their armor. I mean, what more can you want?
Supposedly Sanguinius' armor was just like that, too. That's too much. This next question comes from Brian B. Would the Death Corps of Krieg listen to a non-Krieg commissar? Yes. If they got a gun, why wouldn't you? Not that they would have to listen, because I think Death Corps of Krieg is very okay, we're about to die anyways. Or they're drilled into their minds that it's death for the Emperor. But yeah. That doesn't mean that they're dumb, though.
Yeah. Dragon Punch 903. What is the weakest faction in 40K lore-wise?
Harlequins? Oh, no, sorry, Eldar. Just Eldar in general, I think.
Yeah, because, they're a dying race. There's not many of them. When they do fight, they usually tend to, do hit-and-run tactics and run away. They don't fight battles of attrition.
They serve a leadership role, kind of like, I want to say Gandalf, but, he's actually stronger than the Eldar. And then the other thing, too, is, even if you take, one of their strongest characters, which would be an avatar of Cain, or even the new god Inyad, they get beat up constantly.
Lore-wise, they're, the bottom of, the totem pole, I guess. They're punching bags, essentially.
But that's what happens when you, take your civilization and then you just turn it into a Pornhub website.
Yeah. You birth gods.
Yep. And
not the good kind. Bunny Hop, what is the best way to survive in the 40K universe? Don't do what the Eldar did.
Right. Yep. It depends on how where you're dropped in. If you're a regular human and you're dropped into a hive world, which is statistically more likely to happen, then what ends up happening is that you don't really have much of a choice.
Right.
You kind of just have to either work or die.
Yeah, it's literally go with the flow or get put down.
Yeah. If you could choose, let's say it's a video game, or Assassin's Creed, where Assassin's Creed, where you actually get to choose the person, then in that situation, I would say go with a rogue trader, because you have the most freedom, you have the most free will, and you have the power of the, I forget what the document is.
Yeah, that little paper.
Yeah, but you can do whatever you want in the name of the Emperor.
No, yeah, you have all that freedom, but at the same time, you could get attacked by pirates, have a Tyranid invasion come out. It's never a safe place to be in the 40K universe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Even if you're on Terra, even though it's the most heavily defended place, it probably is the safest. But at the same time, at any time, somebody could just say, "You stepped on this holy pebble, heretic," and you could die right then and there.
Yeah, and the key is that it's the safest for Xenos, or against Xenos or other threats, but it's not safe against the enemy within. I feel like pickpockets, assassins, all that kind of stuff would just get you on
your neighbor. If they don't like you, they could just be like, "I saw him practicing witchcraft," and the Inquisition gets you.
Yep, and you're done. This next question comes from, the big one. Do you think the Booty Baron is a good nickname? It's too long. A nickname should be short. So
Baron Booty. Yeah, take the off. BB or Baron Booty.
And then when somebody says, why do they call him BB? His name is Ryan. And then he can be like, oh no, it's because he's the Booty Baron.
Ryan.
And then the follow-up question is what did he do to become the Booty Baron? And then you say, well, what does a Baron do? He conquers things, right?
I guess so, yeah.
He's the owner of things. And what are booties? Booties. So he conquers or owns booties. And that's actually a pretty good story.
Yeah. Because it's gonna be an instant conversation starter.
Yeah, I think it gets weird as you get older. It'd be really good for guys in their 20s, but if you're in your 30s and you say, "Oh, we call him BB because he's the Booty Baron," and you're saying that to your manager, it's a little weird.
Yeah, it's Ryan, my word.
Yeah.
Wasted Millennium. Oh, we already did that one.
I have one for Damned Legion.
Whoa.
Are gnolls emotionless like Smok Vulcan? No, they're not. They still have emotions.
Mm-hmm.
They still have intelligence. It's just that they don't have a psychic presence.
Right.
But they are, like, odd. Like, they just don't feel right.
Tin Man 40K. Is there any psychic powered chainsword? And if you're asking about the purpose, I'd say psychological weapon and more pain, not just to the body, but also to the soul.
No.
Yeah, usually like chainswords are just meant to like rend flesh and cause the most damage. Because it's all specified. Like if you want to pierce armor, you go with like a spear or something like that. If you want to slice, a sword. But if you're trying to go for like mental attacks, why would you use a close combat weapon that's going to get you closer to the enemy when you could just fire mind bullets?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, because they have frost axe, they have swords.
Oh no, the Eldar do have it. I think it's a witchblade. That's what it's called.
A witchblade?
So it's not a chain sword, but it's like a dagger that I think they could throw and like call back, and it's like psychically empowered.
But is it like spinning?
When I picture it in my mind, it's spinning, almost
Your
like a
cannon?
boomerang.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's like got like a little bit of a curve to it. Not to the bottom or to the top, but to the side.
That's how you get the... Never mind. This next question comes from Twisted Jane. Which are your top 5 questions you had in your For the Greater WAAAGH? I think we've answered this before, but I think number 1 is...
What would happen if the Kroot ate the Emperor?
Yep. And the answer is nothing.
Yeah, it takes time for these, what do you call them? Effects to happen. So you have to keep eating the Emperor for generations to generations, and then the offspring might have a beneficial trait to it or might not, as can be seen from Kroot hounds and Krootoks. That's when the Kroot ate, like, I guess it was like
bestial.
Bipedal and like bestial things to get stronger and faster, but eventually it just made them less intelligent.
Yep. Yeah. And then number 2 is sometimes we have gotten this a lot. Are you guys friends, cousins, lovers, all that kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
So
why?
It's up to you to decide.
Yeah, it's like that one thing where it's the mystery is better than the actual answer.
Right. Yep. And then
what would happen if my dog ate us?
Yep.
Where we go into crazy, wacky adventures, and it starts the same way, so we think it's the same question, but as we get towards it, it's not.
And then what would happen if they resurrected the Emperor?
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, I don't
know. Yeah, because there's a lot of like factors you have to keep in mind. You like the storytelling of 40K can go anyway. Yep. Like there's no straight path. It's literally a limitless options. And I think like the last one is like, who's the strongest of the Primarchs, or who would win in a fight between all the Primarchs?
And if it's hand to hand, we always say like, oh, Vulcan is supposed to be the biggest, so he's probably going to be the winner. If it's psychic stuff, then
Magnus.
Mm-hmm. But then every single Primarch has their own little benefit. The one person that would always lose is Lorgar, because he would always get his ass beat by everybody.
Unless like they forget about him, or like he like somehow manages to evade everything, and he's like the last one standing.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a tactic. I mean, they do it in like the Royal Rumble for like wrestling.
Yeah, they kind of just sit back.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the days, Royal Rumbles. But yeah, anybody, and I think that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Next question.
Nico, do you think there really is a huge Tyranid fleet waiting to invade outside the galaxy? Or is it more likely that the Hive just came to 40K and is running away from an even greater threat?
I don't think it's running from a greater threat. I do think that like they are the apex predator, and they're just it's just another galaxy that they're going to consume. That's what they do.
Right. Because if they were running away from something, I feel like you'd see like these tendrils have like battle damage to them, or like something along the lines of like they wouldn't like just go to the closest planet and like devour it. They'd probably like try to get as far away from it as possible.
Right. Yeah. But yeah. And those are the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for sending the questions. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Yep. As always, this is the Sound Alchemist.
Gershwin.
And we are out.
Oh, I used to put my